What's going on, monsters? I'm your host, and I cannot call myself Poison the Allosaurus anymore, but I know I am back with another video. Well, not another video, but my first brand new video now, because I just needed a big break from YouTube for a little bit, because I was in deep stress. I was emotionally damaging myself, I'm not good enough and this and that because I was not, making good characters or good lore or anything. And I was kind of stuck and I just needed some air to breathe. But now I'm gladly back. But you could just call me Zula for short for now. It's been a little while, so. And I found this Creepypasta. And fun fact about me, I am a huge fan of creepypastas, even underrated gems that nobody can find other than people who are dig them. And I did heard, I will link the video in the description, if I can, Broken Wires. This is a sequel version of Broken Wires, which is based on, a Phantroid creepypasta. And Phantroid is this musical robot friend that makes music and gaming videos. I know he's been gone for a bit, but then he suddenly made out of nowhere a poll that for a random vote. And I was kind of surprised. He's been gone for a single year and he never uploaded again. I know, very sad, but it is what it is. It is what it is after all. But, anyways, I know this profile picture that you're seeing floating around here, this one probably giving you nostalgia. But I did hear and read the Broken Wires story by Fandroid when he read it. And this is a sweet sequel called Shattered Screen, Fandroid Creepypasta. This is on DeviantArt, by the way, so if you want to check it out for yourself, it will be very easy to find, both probably on PC and mobile now. So, yay. Some of the words will be hard to read because the background, as you can see, is kind of hard to read. But I gotta try my best to read this because I promised myself to read. Wait, why can I? Well, that's weird. Okay, hold on, guys. I'll be right back. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Hold on, I'll be right back with you guys. I'm gonna put it on pause. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I need to fix something real quick, but okay, now I'm back. So I'm gonna link the original creepypasta story, link in the description or in my comment section so you can find it and react to Broken Wires there so you can kind of get the context. And it's a long story, and I'm kind of person who does long spooky stories. But yeah, sometimes I'm too lazy to read them, sometimes I'm just randomly motivated. And I got bored and I had nothing else to do, but so I decided to read for you guys because I am free willingly to read creepypastas. But I want to try and find new ones that nobody ever heard of and not just directly, read the same creepypasta like some other people. So I'm gonna try my best to do that. So yeah. And probably, I will tell you this, I'll probably make my own creepypastas at some point in the later future. I don't know when, but at some point in time, I don't know. I cannot promise you when exactly it's gonna come out, but I never seen people do a dinosaur creepypasta. There are a few out there, but they're not in my vision, the way I picture it in my head. So I will do a dinosaur creepypasta at some point. This story is by Mystic with a C, Star Moon, by Mystic Star Moon. Story released July 4th. Hey! Surprisingly on the American Party Day. 2019. Before the coronavirus took over. Man, I'm getting a lot of links. What is going on? Hold on. I'll be right back. I don't know what's going on with these notifications. They just automatically appear out of nowhere. But I hope that doesn't happen again. But anyways. Shall we begin? Well, let's read the writer's note first so we can know the context before we swan dive in first into the story. Writer's note. This creepypasta is a fan-made sequel to the Fandroid creepypasta Broken Wires. I will link that video in the description for you guys to check out. It's free to see on Fandroid's video, or you can read it for yourself right here on a wiki. On a wiki page that you can randomly find. So simply type in Broken Wires Creepy Fandroid. Man, I lost my English. All you gotta do is simply write Broken Wires Fandroid Creepypasta on Google, and it should appear. At least that's how for me works, but it's a lot more easier for you to find it on YouTube because it should be there. So yeah. I have been given permission to the original author to make a sequel of her story. I doubt that Fandroid would even read this since he hasn't done a creepypasta reading for a while. I hope he does though too. Yeah, I hope he does though. I'm sorry. No, he does not anymore because he's been gone for like a year. None of this is canon unless Fandroid decides. I made a few additional changes to both the prequel and the ad hoc facility. Ad hoc is a place where robots are like built and stuff. I might make this into my own universe. Hint hint of my Monster World universe time. There will be some familiar characters that you've probably seen. Like, you remember my robot dinosaur character that you've probably seen, Forbidden Thought Freddy, or you could call him Triple F for short because he has 3 F's in his name. I might do a redesign on him because he's kind of struggled to make, so stay tuned for that because I'm probably going to make a series out of it. I also added in a OC to the story. Ooh. Hope it's not a bad one because, along with a redesign of the hacker. So that's the one that, okay, I'm going to fortunately spoil the ending. In the Broken Wire story, there's this hacker who saves Fandroid from being, turning into a monster. But, and after the hacker and Fandroid, talk to each other for a little bit, something tells me nothing is so good, because it sounds familiar. If you have watched the Spy Ninjas, you know what I mean. If not, then I'm sorry, but please check out the 2019 Spy Ninja videos and 2018. Those are my most recommended ones. So you can get, the context. Just saying. My scripting is also pretty crappy, and I am slightly disappointed. Well, hope you enjoy anyways. It's okay. All of us make crappy stories sometimes, but sometimes they can evolve and regrow. But this is just a tester. But remember, please check out Broken Wires first if you have not already, because it's going to be extremely important if you did. Because if you don't, then you're not going to understand. Well, I, myself included, does know a little bit about it. Sometimes I have bad memory and kind of jumble things up, but I can say that I did reheard and reread the story of Broken Wires many times way back. But anyways, let's hop on to part 2 of Broken Wires, aka The Shattered Screen. Oh boy, it's about to be a real one. So I'm going to give you a quick warning. There might be some elements that might not be suitable for younger audiences. Just heading you guys up, even though I haven't started reading yet. I'm just saying there might be some elements that might be too scary for younger audiences. Just giving you a heads up, so giving you time to leave this video in case you're not the one who can handle this. Just saying. This is part 2 of the Broken Wires Creepypasta Shattered Screen. Okay, enough yip-yapping. I know I'm a long talker, so let's just get into it for our sake. Are you guys ready? Here we go. Vandroid's POV. Vandroid woke up in a dark, ominous room. His aching head has got to be one of his worst achings yet. Vandroid let out a few muffles of exhaustion and decided to look around in the room he is in, or he's now in. Where am I? Vandroid thought to himself as he looked around. His eyes could see nothing but jet black, except facing him is a large static screen, with its noise that sent chills in Vandroid's metal spine. I don't think robots have spines. I don't know. I guess biologically, I don't know. What am I saying? Anyways. In front of the static screen stood what looks like to be a black human figure. However, the figure has no hair, no clothes, not naked, just plain. Oh, it's like a shadow or like a silhouette. Okay. Remember that? I told you there's gonna be some elements that are not nice. Warned ya. Anyways, Vandroid's questions are starting to whirl faster in his head, and he thought asking that thing could give him some answers. As he decided to roll forward, something stopped Vandroid as he slightly been yanked back. And by the way, the reason that he says roll because he has one wheel. He does not have legs or feet. Just letting you know that fact. Vandroid then realized something felt tight around his wrists and looked over his shoulder to check it out, only to find out with his eyes slightly wide with panic. His claws were chained against the wall. Yikes! Classy. I like it. Obviously, it's a classy one. Obviously a classy one, okay? Struggling with panic, Vandroid tried to free himself from his chains, resulting with no luck. He let out a few grunts that's a mixture with panic and effort. As he was about to make one more struggle, the cryptic figure spoke that will leave him with multiple shivers. No matter how hard you try, it's pretty useless and a waste of time. Man, glad I can read that blurry text, because I use this for my other character that you might remember. Aconite, our girl, that might come back. With a new coat of paint, too. It's a hint. Fear was starting to rise inside Vandroid as he stopped and stared at the mysterious creature. After what felt like hours demanding for answers, Vandroid steadied himself and tried to look at this. What the fuck is wrong with me? And tried to look at the creature in its eyes, though its body is facing towards the static screen. Who are you? Vandroid demanded. Trying to hide the fear in his voice and putting in all his efforts not to make his voice shake. The figure let out a small, corrupted sigh. And all of the sudden, the figure glitched and disappeared. Eyes wide open, Vandroid looked around the room to see where the creature went, when it suddenly glitched and appeared in front of Vandroid. Fantroid tried his best not to yell or cry out of horror as he looked into the thing's face, which was hollow but bright crimson eye sockets, with its horrifying mouth with bits of what looks like it's black goop. So like black ink, like that kind of like drips down. Classic. It's a classic monster. I'm pretty sure that's the OC that the offer was talking about, but I don't know. Not even daring to blink, Fantroid watched in fright as he stared at it. What feels like hours. I'm pretty sure the offer is meant to say as he stared at what it felt like hours. So that's why some of the words are hard to read. So yeah, just to let you know that. Only to make it not even a second. Wow. I have been with you for almost 2 months, and you still do not recognize me? Whoa, we're about to get the reveal! This is like exciting! This is why I recommend you check out Broken Wires first. Please, I beg you for it. I'll link it in the description, as I said earlier. The creature sneered in disgust. Oh, this creature is sassy! I love when creatures are sassy. It's fun. Something you gotta have a little fun, okay? Fantroid flinched as he listened to its horrifying glitchy voice. Then, after a few moments, a menacing chuckle filled in the cold silence. Very well. If it is answers you want to seek, then you may get your first. Whoa. Charming, the creature murmured as it held up a metal remote with 3 buttons on it. I wonder what they can do. You know what I mean? From Dexter's Lab. I wonder what this button do. Sorry, I had to make that meme reference. The creature's hand is touching the red one in the middle. Let's just say the creature paused as it swiftly pressed down on the red button. Without warning, an electric shock bolted to Fantroid's body, causing him to yowl in pain. Fantroid is quietly crying for the pain to end. And after what felt like a blue moon... Wow, blue moons are very rare. A lot more rare than blood moons, so it felt like it took years! Jesus Christ! The pain stopped, leaving Fantroid panting for air. You know you don't have lungs, right? The creature formed a small, sinister smile on his face. I am your monster who always hides within you. Whoa! Now this guy's a menace, but charming. Menacing, but charming. After Fantroid manages to catch his breath, even though you don't have lungs, he feebly looks up at the creature. Confusion swelled him up. He has no memory of this creature being with him in the past. Well, sorry if the inconvenience, but that doesn't ring my bell. He is silently praying that it doesn't shock him. Cold silence filled in the dark. Patrick can tell by its face, but he can guess it is irritated. A minute passed until the creature finally spoke. You really are curious bolthead, aren't you? Aren't ya? Or are you? But I'm just doing my own fancy words, it murmured with an edge of a small chuckle. Very well. The creature raised his hand, which snapped, and the vision cuts to blank. Fantroid opened his eyes and found himself staring at the floor. He then realized his claws weren't chained anymore. However, as he looked at them, he noticed they were covered with rust and sod, and oddly also covered with splots of dark red paint. Suspicious red jam! Everybody's favorite move! He also saw on his right claw, it was replaced with a knife. Okay, here, we're gonna pause it here because I want to tell you a fun fact. Fun fact! Did you know Forbidden Fowl is always represented with one of his claws looking like a knife? Just letting you know. Go check out the arts. You'll know. It's probably the most common formula a lot of people use for creepypastas for Android, so just letting you know. Anyways, moving on. He then saw a mirror facing at him. But as he looked up to see his reflection, he choked out a scream of horror. What he saw will never burn away in his hard drive. So I guess he's gonna remember it forever. Traumatizing. His body parts were all rusty and covered with that same red spots. aka strawberry jam all over. Only then Fandroid realized he was covered in the rest of aka the word blood. I'm just doing for the safety for you younger audiences. I'm just saying. But if you can handle the horror, then good job! The right side of his boombox, with boombox torso, the thing, I don't know how to put it into words, but you know what. Hold on, the right side of his boombox torso left a huge dent on the front of the corner. And his metallic headphones had wires sticking out in all ends. The left side is still sparkling and leaving yellow particles. The classic anime electric things that a lot of electric things are used for. Fandroid's face was the worst of all. Oh boy! Let's see this handsome devil, shall we? Let's hold hands together. His screen was covered with cracks and oozing out black oil. His eyes were black with small but horrifying red pupils that can stare deeply into your soul, even with your eyes closed. Classic! So this is kind of like represented in like Sonic.exe, for example. You know, the classic hedgehog with the bleeding eyes. Yeah, that's kind of like what is inspired by it. At least that's what I'm guessing, because I have no history of it. After staring at his reflection, I was trying to say something, because look at the word reflection. That looks suspicious. He suddenly realized his knife claw is oozing out blood and oil. Not to mention there were horrified screaming that suddenly grows louder and louder. They were all familiar to Fandroid, but his fear were making it hard for him to concentrate. Clutching his head and keeping his eyes tight shut, Fandroid silently pleading for his nightmare to stop. Whoa. What a roller coaster already. Wow. The creature laughed maniacally. So he is enjoying the pain, of course. A lot of creatures tend to do that. Overlapping the horrifying screams in the background. Do you remember who I am now? It sneered. Frederick held his head harder. And at the same moment, he tried to flee, but then found himself blocked by another mirror. Tried to take the next route, Frederick zoomed over. Only then he saw himself trapped by mirrors at all ends. Tears swelling up in his eyes, even though he had the literal screen for a face. Frederick clutched his head harder than ever before, crying that the pain would go away. Hold on. We need to pause it again. I'm sorry. I'll be right back. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. The stupid notification thing is broken. Anywho, I have been with you ever since the beginning, slyly said the creature. Trying to block out all the noise, Fenrir bent down more. At the same moment, he was crying black ooze, which originally it was virtual tears. But maybe, since he was still in his vision, the creature could have made contact with reality as well. What? Cosmic energy much? Ever since then, I have been hidden deep inside you, waiting for the opportunity to strike, and when the time comes, the unpredictable will occur. And then the cycle starts all over again. After saying its sentence, the background then swirled. When it switched to a different background, with Fenrir still in his monster form. You know I love my monsters and mythical creatures. Thumbs up! And over and over and ever, the creature continued. As the background keeps changing by every over. Just as the background finished its second lap, it suddenly swirled faster and faster, until it was so fast it barely make out its image. Fenrir's uneasiness is starting to rise, and his claws crouching harder on his head. Because, yeah, of course. And then let out a wail that is barely heard by the sounds of the swirls by the spinning background. Make it stop! He cried out as loud as he could. As he thought he was about to turn insane, a sudden electric bolt struck. I'm pretty sure to say struck, but we're gonna go with struck. Struck through Fenrir's body, screaming in pain, obviously. As the pain stopped, he then looked around to see he was back in the dark room, and his claws were changed once again. He let out a heavy sigh of relief. Whew! I pretty sure he was tripping out. Don't do drugs, okay? Just don't. Only then he saw the creature once again in front of him, holding the same remote with a smile of a maniac. Of course he does. Suddenly, memories flashed in Fenrir's head. He saw a pale gray creature, which it looked like it was melting, with incredibly long legs and freakishly long nails, and its eyes were all around his body. This is where you need to check out the Broken Wire story, so you can know, okay? It was the most gruesome creature Fenrir has ever seen. The memory then flashed to the melting creatures attacking Melody, which is the donut drone floating girl. Yeah, I don't know. Hold on. Where was I? Where did I stop? Then Fenrir and the last vision Fenrir saw was the house burning, with Fenrir inside. Fenrir then snapped back into reality and looked up at the black creature, which it held up a look as if it will be satisfied with Fenrir's response. It's you, Fenrir stammered. You're the forbidden file. The creature looked satisfied. I called it. Called it. The creature looked satisfied, letting out a glitchy chuckle. Fenrir wasn't paying attention. He was so stunned of making out the creature's identity. He really wanted to find out why he couldn't remember him in the first place. Wait. Hold on, the robot informed, stopping the creature from laughing. How come I don't remember you in the first place? Fenrir silently pleaded. The creature's response wasn't another shock. The creature's face quickly changed to a face of hatred and disgust. Oh, you don't know him. Either do you? It sneered with disgust. When it then turns around to the static screen and pressed down a blue button on the remote. The static cleared up, revealing a man who looks like in his early 20s. This is where I will recommend you guys to check out A Knife on His Claw, which is a popular fan for Creepypasta. You can check it out here on DeviantArt as well. So I'm going to give you a short summary. So it basically tells the story of a guy who was a fan of Fantroid for a long time and subscribes to him again after so many years. And then suddenly he came across his forbidden file, which chases him through the woods and kills him. Yeah, or I'm pretty sure there's someone behind us, or another version. Shoot, I don't remember. There's no escape. That's the creepypasta I was thinking of. There is no escape story. That's the story I'm talking about. With brown hair, brown eyes, and wearing a crimson hoodie jumper. Fenrir surprisingly recognized that face. The hacker? He asked. Daniel. The creature corrected. Daniel! Wait, not my boy Daniel! The brave hero that always saves the day. Please. It continued with mockery in his voice. He was the cheater that would always take my dreams away from me when I was so close to achieving it. He would always continue to use his pattern. Fight, slaughter, then rebuild. Its voice is starting to get more glitchy and distorted as it goes deeper into Daniel's detail. How does it know all this? Fandroid asked. The creature seemed to read his mind as it gave Fandroid his answer. I thought you might ask. He would always delete your memories of me, just to prevent his little music friend from worrying. Stupid UTEP. Sorry. The creature clenched his hands to a fist. That cheater would always get in my way, and I'm sick of it! It snarled. It snarled as it smashed down on the red button, starting up the shock once again. Man, this guy has some anger issues. Small cracks started to appear on Fenrir's screen as he yowled in pain. Finally, the pain stopped. But now, with that buffoon out of the way, no one will be able to get in my way. Or even better, no one will be there. No one will be able to get you. It gleefully sneered. Fandor looked up at the creature with a small glint of anger in his eyes. He was determined that someone will free him and stop the forbidden file to cause havoc. Oh yeah? Well, Fandor tried to sound confident as possible. You won't get away with this. Someone will get me and stop you from... Fandor got cut off as the creature sneered in mockery. What? Are you deaf? No one will come to and stop me, and even if they did, who will it be? It held a treacherous smile. Will it be Daniel? A little girl? Or your best friend? The creature pushed down the blue button on the remote. As the screen cleared, Fandor froze in horror and disbelief. A pink droid, which looks like the shape of a donut, is laying on the floor, with a small screen shattered, glass shards with shattered on the floor. Fandor can barely get his words out. Melody? Melody? Fandor tried to zoom forward, but reaching out reaching out for his friend at the screen. His hands were held back by the chains, but Fenrir would not give up as he's calling out his friend's name multiple times. "Melody! Melody! Wake up!" he cried. "Melody! Please!" Virtual trees were rolling down Fenrir's screen. He was begging that all of this was a nightmare. All of this was a nightmare. And he would just wake up with Melody alive. And everything would go back to normal. The creature let out a small but wicked chuckle. "See what I mean?" It gleefully sneered as it got closer to Android. "Now, no one will get in my way. Don't worry. I will keep you and your precious fans safe. And it will all be just a bad dream." The creature put its finger on Fandroid's head and lifted it up. Its face has the look of a psychopath. "Trust me." And there's a little drawing. We're gonna check it out that later, or at some point. Me's POV, or Mai's POV. Man, this is gonna take me a long time to read because I'm a long talker. Mai is walking home from college. Autumn is coming in fast as a cool breeze swept past, bringing the leaves up with them. "This is the third time, Mr. Number. Give us another math assessment. Geometry this time," she silently growled. She hated geometry. Girl, me too. She would rather watch YouTube videos than study. On the bright side, if her parents from another country asked about her grades, she would always edit the F into an A+ and show it to her parents. Girl, why? You don't like being honest? They would not talk to her for a month if they found out she failed. Luckily, she is an amazing liar. Good for you. Speaking of which, she decided to sing one of her favorite songs from her favorite YouTubers, Android Music. Trying to find the right song, she accidentally passed her street and where her dorm is, and took the next street. Girl, this is why you need to pay attention on the street. Tricked by easy riches, now I'm picking fight with monsters. Tricked by easy riches, now I'm picking fights with monsters. She's flailed her arm as she was punching to match the lyrics. 20 times my size. 20 times my size. Oh, snap! Her legs got cut off as she bumped into something metal. She stumbled back a bit and looked up from what she bumped into, only to find herself looking at a white rectangular building with a spare room on the right side. The title is above May's head and reads in blue, bold text, "Ad hoc, built with a purpose." Filled with confusion and wonder, May tried to find a way in through the metal door, only to be locked by a handprint. Curious, she put her hand on it. Nothing. For a split second until it glitched and spooking May, but surprisingly it opened the door. If I'm going to die in there, I would name myself a wanker. A wonker. May pondered without thinking twice. She entered. Of course people do that. Of course they do. Inside of the building, it felt cold. The lights were out, but luckily she was able to make out what's going on around her. Without even daring to turn around, she kept moving forward. Uneasiness is starting to boil inside of her as she looked around. One thing that caught her eye was one of those testing rooms. There were controls at the front, along with the screen. Beyond the glass was a white room, with small tiles all over. Chills were crawling down her back as she passed by. What are you doing, you idiot? What are you doing, you idiot? Get out of here, May told herself. But her body would not turn around. She felt like she would miss something important. Before she knew it, she found herself at a dead end. The spacing only looked squarish and small. All of a sudden, the door slowly closed shut. May recognized where she is now. She was in the elevator. Not even daring to move, she waited as the elevator descended. It feels like decades as the elevator finally opened. The excitement and fear is boiling inside of her. She never made it this far into the building. However, she fears something treacherous was coming her way. Well, this is what you asked for, didn't you? May scowled out to herself. She went off the elevator and into the hallway. It didn't really take long until May found herself in a more cheerful environment. Posters were placed almost everywhere in the hall, and all of them have the same familiar faces. May's uneasiness eased as she looked at the posters. She noticed one of them is on the floor, with half of the page ripped. She picked it up and take a closer look. Looked at who the character is. Excitement bubbled up inside of her as she recognized who she's looking at. Android? She thought gleefully. She wanted to scream in joy and rush to Fandroid's room and give him a tackle. Are you sure about that? But for some reason, she kept still and calm. She silently walked over to the large space she saw up ahead. But as she did, she noticed there were scratches on the left wall. Uneasiness filled May up again. Maybe singing one of Fandroid's songs will lighten up the mood? May thought timidly. It didn't take long for May to find a song. She started humming it, which then she quietly sang out loud. Everywhere you look, everywhere you climb, you will find animal sights, pretty sky in the city of life. May held her note on life as she stopped dead on what she saw. In front of her, May saw a man in his early 20s. She fought with a crimson hoodie jumper, jeans, brown shoes, and brown hair. He was lying unconscious with a gash of blood on the back of his head. On the right side of him, May saw a small pink donut droid with its small screen shattered. May recognized immediately who the pink donut was. Melody? May suddenly gasped in horror. She wanted to rush over to Melody and check if she was okay, but May knew she had to help the man first. She bent down and put her hands behind the man's wrist. She breathed a sigh of relief as May found out the man was alive. The fuck? That doesn't make any sense. Bro was brutally stabbed many times. She knew there would be no first aid in the building, so she had no choice but to use her magic power as well. So this is the OC she was talking about. Okay. I just hope everything will turn out better than it looks for the May season. Daniel's POV. Man, this is a long ride. I love it already. Daniel feebly opened his eyes. He could not recall what happened to him before he was knocked out. As he tried to look up, he felt very lightheaded, letting out a gasp of pain. Suddenly, he heard footsteps and saw a girl with red, wavy hair. Her skin is brown, and she was wearing an orange turtleneck sweater, gradient with yellow at the bottom. As she is also wearing dark brown shorts with white shoes. She is undeniably short, with one side of her orange eye, her eye orange. Excuse me? You mean her hair or something? I don't know. And the other being yellow. She has heterochromia. Okay. She is holding some green tea in a cup, and her expression is unreadable. Oh, you're up, she said, walking over to him. Daniel looked at her with confusion as she handed him over the tea. He was about to take a sip, but he wanted to know who the girl is. Who are you? He asked. The girl's eyes widened slightly. Daniel thought she was just surprised to find out that he was British. I love British people, actually, because of their accent. They sound so cute. Like Gordon Ramsay. Where's the long sauce? Come on, I had to make a Gordon Ramsay joke. You're British? I don't see that every day. The girl walked away towards a broken pink donut droid on the floor. She then suddenly turned around. Oh, to answer your question, my name is May. Or Mai. Daniel, still filled with confusion, took a sip of the tea. It has been a few minutes with complete silence until he suddenly remembered why he was knocked out. Fandroid! Where's... As Daniel was about to get up from the chair, he felt suddenly lightheaded. He let out a gasp of pain and multiple owls as he tried to get up. Whoa, easy. You still need time to recover, May reassured Daniel as she tried to steady him up. As Daniel finally stood up, he was widely looking around to where Fandroid could be. Now tell me, what happened to Fandroid beginning to end? Oh, it's lore time! Get ready. Daniel really wanted to ignore May's question and rush out of the room, but he feels like matters would get worse if he refuses. So Daniel took a deep breath, sat back down on the chair, and told May what happened. Few moments later. The forbidden file? May exclaimed after Daniel told her everything. Her eyes were wide with shock. How long has this been going on for? Almost 2 months, Daniel answered. He just wants to leave before May asks him more questions. Listen, this is a problem that I have to deal with. I don't want anyone else to be mangled in this mess. I already have enough witnesses. Daniel sadly looks over at Melody. I want to help, May said determinedly. What? Daniel looked at May with disbelief. He cannot let an 11-year-old go through such torture he already endured. What the fuck? Wow, what a overdrive. This storyteller really went for maximum overdrive. Fedor is my biggest idol. I hate that all of this is happening to him. I also want to kick that vile butt in the face. Woo! That's what I'm telling you now, girl. Girl power engage! Sorry, I got a little too excited. Sorry if I'm yelling. I didn't mean to. Sorry. Determination sparkled in May's eyes. Daniel chuckled with amusement. You really are determined, kid, aren't ya? May looked at him with a frisk face. Bruh, I'm 17. Okay, that's a little better. So 3 years younger, okay. Daniel looked at May widely surprised. He would probably have half of his bandage if he asked May why she's short. Let's just get Melody up and running. Melody's POV. Melody's vision was pitch black. She doesn't know how long it has been until her vision was flickered back on. What she can see are two people. On the side, she can see a familiar face. Daniel! She wants to hover up and give him a cuddle, even though you don't have arms, but she was too tired and hurt to even move. On the other side of Daniel, she's a young girl with red hair and brown skin. Her eyes are different colored, and her face is filled with wonder as she stared at Melody. Melody? Said the girl, May. Melody looked at May with a tired expression, which then changed into a confusion. Who are you? Weakly asked the pink droid. May and Daniel exchanged sympathetic glances. May then turned back to Melody. My name is May. May softly answered with a small smile on her face. Melody then looked around to find her a close friend, which is so far he is nowhere to be seen. What happened? Where's Fandroid? She worriedly asked. May blinked and looked at Daniel. She gave him a stern look, almost as if she were telling him something. He then sighed at the girl and looked at Melody. Melody, whatever we are about to tell you, please don't freak out. Melody's eyes were wide and with shock and fear. She couldn't believe what happened to both her and Fandroid. It was such a short events too. It was in such short events too. He did what to me? She exclaimed. Listen, Melody, we have a plan, but it's not going to be easy. Daniel's sentence was cut short as the lights flickered. Soon the power is cut out. The room is pitch black, and the three friends look around wildly in fright. May and Daniel find it very difficult to see in the dark, but luckily Melody's screen is bright enough to make the two others see in the dark. Okay, this is out of the ordinary, exclaimed May when all of a sudden a wicked laugh faded in. I wonder who that could be. Wild in fear and panic, the three looked around where the cackling could be. Within seconds, May jumped in front of Daniel and Melody and spawned in a green transparent barrier. Her eyes are filled with hostility. She has magic powers. I love that. I love when you have a little fantasy. Come on. Let the person have a little fun, okay? Sometimes we gotta have a little fun. The cackling grew louder and more distorted, and after a few sinful seconds, small red eyes glowed in front of them. Its eyes were so monstrous it will stare deeply into your soul, even with your eyes closed. The tree friend looked at it with horror and fright. Melody could not take it any more. She let out a black, glittery scream so loud she could break all of the glass in the ad hoc. Wow. Eventually, she did. Glasses were cracked and shattered all over the building. And at the same moment, May and Daniel and Melody heard a crack coming from the red-eyed creature. It let out a glitchy growl with a very recognizable voice. All three of them looked at the red-eyed creature, and that is when Melody stopped screaming. "Fandroid!" they all exclaimed. Within seconds, the lights flickered back on, spooking the three. Daniel and May looked at all sides to see if the creature has gone. "Is it gone?" Melody's voice shook. It was a couple seconds before Daniel answered, "Oh, it's okay. It's gone." Daniel reassured the pink donut. I love the pink donut. His voice was soft. But Melody could still see uncertainty and hostile in his eyes. Just then he saw May standing dead frozen in front of Fandroid's computer. "Oi, May!" he called. "You alright?" May shivered and her voice slightly shook. "I don't think that thing is gone yet." Confused, Daniel and Melody came over to where May was. And what they saw on the computer is a creepy message from the creature. It reads, "Meet me in the testing room." Which it ended with a smiley face. Drawn in blood, of course it does. Cold air filled in the room. As the three stared at the message for what felt like hours, finally May turned to Daniel. "We have to go," she murmured. Her eyes are dull and cold like pebbles. Daniel nodded in agreement, and it was then Melody realized what is happening. She looked at both May and Daniel, her eyes filled with worry. "Do we have to go?" She quietly asked them. May and Daniel's eyes were unreadable, but they shared Melody's worries. To her slight horror, they nodded a small yes. Of course you have to. Melody let out a small whimper and hovered over May for a cuddle. Aw, that's cute. Everyone needs a little bit of a cuddle for comfort. May flinched for a slight bit, but after she gently put her hands behind Melody's for a cuddle. "It's okay, we're going to be fine," May reassured her. Melody is praying that what she said is true, so she slightly nodded. Then the three exited out of the Fandroid's room and into the elevator. After they reached the top floor, the three entered the testing room, where they could see a broken Fandroid, aka Forbidden Vial. What the fuck? Okay, so I think I need to stop here because I need to make a part 2 of this. So we're gonna stop here. Unfortunately, I'm very sorry. I don't think I can go for an hour long. So I guess I can see you guys in part 2 of this story because it's so goddamn long. But anyways, this is Zula, peacing out of this YouTube world. And I'll see you in part 2 to see what will happen next. Stay tuned, folks, because you never know what will come.